Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Pregnant in Japan, your podcast about pregnancy, birth, and the joy of a relaxed motherhood in Japan. My name is Vicky. I'm a German mom living in Tokyo. I'm sharing my positive birth experience to inspire you with yours.
Hello, today we have Carolin and Alice, I should say, or Alice. Carolin is from Belgium and she lives in Tokyo with her husband since 2020. And shortly after she came to Japan, she became pregnant and she started her story off in Aiiku hospital, right?
Yes,
Carolin, hello, welcome.
Hello, Victoria. Glad to be on the show.
Yeah, well, thank you. This is a podcast episode, so unfortunately, all the listeners can't see what I see, but I see Carolin's beautiful blue-eyed daughter right now. So she's going to be with us, and that's quite okay. Carolin, I have to tell the listeners, our story, because we have been in touch for almost a year, I think.
So.
And it is quite funny because we always send like some messages. When are we going to do the interview and so on.
Yeah.
And then like suddenly a few days ago, I got this message from you. Victoria, I need to talk to you now. It's going crazy now here with all the restriction. I need to talk to you. So today I'm going to skip my unconventional questions and we're going to start right away. Carolin, please tell us a little bit more. What was going on in your head?
So, yes, what was going on? We were in discussion like since few months, like saying, we're going to have an interview. I'm going to share this amazing experience I had in Japan about like delivering a baby in a natural way. And I was postponing the interview because my questions were not ready. My answers were not like correct in a very nice English and so on. I was just postponing it. And lately I was seeing all these crazy messages about Aiku, who is like making restriction about the mom cannot touch her baby after being born, or the dad cannot be there during the delivery. And I said it's like a very urgent moment now to tell the story and to tell to other moms who maybe were in the situation I was, to say that Aiku is not the only option in Tokyo. So I arrived in 2020. I wasn't pregnant, but I became pregnant very quickly. And as I was pregnant, time was counted, and I needed to go to a hospital to find where I was going to deliver a baby. And in Belgium, the usual way to deliver a baby is at the hospital. So I have been advised to go to only one place, which was Aiiku Hospital, like the hospital for the expat. So, no question asked. It's normal. It's a very nice, fancy hospital, and most of all, the doctor is speaking English. And the nurses sometimes are speaking English, which is nice, right? You don't only see a picture, but you can also understand what they are saying. And then what? So every meeting was like very expensive, like 16,000-20,000 yen. But it didn't matter because my insurance was reimbursing.
Wait, 60? Sorry, I have to interrupt. 60 or 6,000?
16.
16, yeah.
16,000. Yeah, 16, but every meeting was around that price. 16, 20, because there was an echo, because there was, I don't know, a blood test, or I never really checked what they were doing, but it was like put on the side. And I'm saying that because it's one of the reasons I changed. So I was doing all these tests, and then pregnancy was going very well, no issue. I was, I think, on the month 6, something like that, 6 or 7 months. And I was preparing my birth plan. And basically, I really wanted my husband to be there, to be with me when I was giving birth. For the reason that I wanted to have a support, someone who I knew. And I also wanted to have the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do.
Meaning like positions or...
Position. I mean, I didn't really know. I was very clueless. I didn't read much about giving birth. I was busy doing other things and discovering Japan. And I was taking it very easy on my pregnancy. But I knew that the moment, when it was going to be the moment, I would know what to do. And so my main fear was I really don't want to be on my back because I knew it would be painful.
So
I just knew that I didn't.
You just knew, yeah.
Yeah.
But instinctively.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And we hired a doula, Stephanie. So also like a very renowned doula in Tokyo. And I was explaining her about like this, so that they didn't want to... I wanted to be free in my position, that we were having like that the price for delivering at Aiiku was extremely expensive and that we were reaching the limit of our insurance. And she actually said that, but if you want to make it the delivery like natural, you can go somewhere else. Because also at Aiiku, my husband was not allowed. So it was like 3 factors that I wanted to have and that were not there.
Okay, he was not allowed because of COVID already, right?
Yes. He was not allowed because of COVID. Or he was allowed for 2 hours. I mean, it was a bit foggy. Like he could come 2 hours before the baby was getting out, which was, I mean, you never know, right? You don't know when it's coming out. So it was also a weird way to put it. Anyway, and after he could not see her. So we decided to change. And we were lucky that So-san, who is the midwife from the birth house, accepted us in last minute. And we changed our very medical cold consultation to this birth house where she was checking my belly, of course, but she was also checking my ankle and making me foot massage and telling me to stop eating bread and drink coffee and that I should only eat rice and drink a lot of water and walk at least 10 kilometers per day. That were the advice that I received.
From Asosan, yeah. So she told you to go for a walk 10 kilometers. For me, she said 1 hour and a half in the morning, 1 hour and a half in the evening.
Yeah. I was like,
no cheese.
I'm walking a lot. Yeah, exactly. No cheese. I know you're French, but no cheese. No cheese. Oh, what do you eat for breakfast? Well, bread and chocolate. Ooh, no. That's not okay. So anyway. And
did you follow her advice?
Not really. I mean, I was like trying to reduce my coffee. I mean, I was not like a super coffee addict. I was like drinking coffee time to time, but I was eating bread. That's for sure. I mean, I was making my own bread and I was eating bread all the time because that's it. I was eating what I felt the need I have. And anyway, I lost my ideas, but basically we changed because of these 3 main conditions, which were I want my husband to be with me. I want to do whatever I want. And in the hospital, I was told that I would be asked at one moment to lay down on my back. And for the price, which was without any peridural, without any C-section, without anything, it would be 1.2 million to deliver.
Yeah, anything additional, like forceps also.
Yeah.
Something unforeseen, that would be additional cost, right, on top of that.
Yeah. And so I was like, the 1.2 million, I mean, it was also like when I told that to my insurance, it was not covered. So it was like a problem that I didn't even foreseen, because I never thought that it would be so expensive to deliver a child naturally. And anyway.
So you were in which month were you, or which week? Do you remember more or less when you transferred?
6 months. So it was like, I delivered on the 29th of December, and we changed in October. I don't know exactly what week. Yeah. It was really the end. I had like 5 more checkups, I think.
And did they question anything about that at Aiiku, changing last minute?
I told them that it was important for my husband to be there, and my gynecologist. So what's her name? Not
Dr.
so Sen. Dr. Sen wasn't so happy about it. I think even she didn't say anything, but she was not so happy, and she didn't make any recommendation letter. So, for example, the midwife at Matsugaoka, the birth center, she was surprised that she didn't receive a recommendation letter, because
referral letter.
Referral letter,
yeah.
Because I was changing, and that she needed to know what test I did and so on. And I think Dr. Sen was a bit disappointed, but
yeah. Okay. Wow. So you changed, let's say, last minute, and how from there on you were with Susan, probably every meeting checkup you did with her, and then you got the foot massage and the ankle checked and moxibustion, and so she told you things you can't eat and gave you also kind of a lot of restriction, but you stayed.
I stayed because she was really also she was always giving it as an advice. I mean, if you're not doing, she's not forcing. And she was also having birth classes she gave a birth class where the husband was also welcome, to see how the birth was going to happen. And during that class, so she was acting, and there were like 2 other midwives that were acting with her to show visually how the birth was going to happen. So to picture how it is, it's a tatami room. There is nothing. I mean, there is nothing except this chair with a hole in the middle where you can actually deliver if you feel more comfortable. And there is just a little futon in the middle of the room. And one of the midwife was playing the mom who is delivering. One was playing the dad, the future dad to be, and one was playing the midwife. And so they were explaining how everything was going to happen, like really to visualize. And the message was always, you do whatever you want. If you feel that you want to go on this chair, go on this chair. If you want to go walk, you walk. If you are like in very much pain, we can try to help you to relax. If you want to be in the bath was not allowed because of the COVID situation. So now I guess it's still not allowed, but there is also the possibility to give birth in a bath at that birth house.
Like a water birth?
Yeah, water birth. And so it was, she was just explaining what everything was going to happen. And then she also had a little PowerPoint presentation with picture of actually like birth giving. And in another class, I think we had 2 or 3 class, it was also with the husband, and she was asking question on how we were preparing ourselves to be there. But she was also asking question to the dad directly, saying, okay, what are you doing now in the house to help? And it was kind of funny because the focus is always on the mom.
Right.
But she had like this open mind to say, no, it's not only the mom, the dad is also going to be there. And she also has this principle to say, you have to rest for 1 month after giving birth. And you cannot do anything. You have to lay down and you don't do anything. And she was very, very strict with the dad, saying, you have to do the dishes during that month. Which was kind of funny. It was really like direct. It's really funny.
It's so funny because now I get to know things because I also delivered at Matsugoaka, right? But I transferred even later than you, I think 7th month or something. And I didn't get this sketch, but maybe also because COVID just was new and maybe they had more restrictions and tried to minimize the contact. But it's great to do what they all hear and how strict she was on your husband.
And so, and she was really, I mean, we were like 3 couple and she was really trying to like, okay, what are you doing? I mean, and they were kind of surprised. I can tell you that every husband was like, oh my God, it's my turn next. It's my turn next. It was really funny. It was really funny. Anyway.
It's like a comedian.
Yeah. And then, what can I say else? That was like all about the preparation before giving birth.
Right.
So she was also like...
Yeah, she was also... Sorry, I interrupted you.
She was also like saying all the bad part that could happen. So she was like very... Even though it's like all natural, there is no doctor at the birth house to help. They were very strict in the way. I mean, they were following a procedure and saying, okay, in case something is happening wrong, you have to know that we are in contact with these, I don't remember how many hospital, and that you will be transferred immediately. So we're not going to take any danger or any risk. We advise every woman to give birth naturally because it's easier for the body recovery and for you also because you don't have any painkiller and so your body knows what to do and which position to take. And they were also very much advising to actually take a squat position to deliver because they were saying it's going to help your baby to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like giving all this type of advice, but always saying, I mean, this is like very, very secure. And I'm saying that because, for example, my husband was not confident to not go to the hospital. For him, it was a nonsense. Yeah. But basically the birth house was an in-middle situation between the hospital that he wanted to have as a best choice. And for me, it was like too important for him to be there. And so I was okay to deliver at home if that was, I mean, if that was the only way for him to attend. Mm. But again, I mean, so Sosan, I think, takes a lot of importance for the husband to be there during the birth, because he is actually there to support, not only during the delivery, but also after, also before. And so she's really taking it as a whole family. And for the visit, she was saying, okay, I mean, we have like a restricted time for dad to visit after the baby is born, but it is still very important. And so he's allowed to come between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. or something like that, to say it is important for you to bond and to keep track, to keep contact. So I was very happy to change, and because it was more the way I was thinking of. Yeah. I can do whatever I want. The feet massage were really funny.
Funny and very relaxing, I guess.
Funny and very relaxing. And it's also another way of seeing, because so if you go at the hospital, it's very cold the way they approach you. They just put like a little machine to give the image on the computer. That's very good. But to be honest, I mean, before Alice was a big baby in my belly, I couldn't recognize where was her head and where was her butt and where were her feet. and that the birth house, they didn't have any image, because they were like just checking the belly, seeing if it was like, by touching the belly, they could say where was the heart and where was the head, and they were taking the heartbeat to see if it was like normal. And then I had like one checkup at the hospital they were working with to have like an echo. But otherwise, that's how they were doing. They were checking my belly with their hand, and then they were saying, "Oh, okay, the head is here, the butt is here, you can feel it, and I can see that your ankle are very flexible, so you're going to have a very, very easy birth." I mean, that was kind of a witch who was telling me how the pregnancy was going to happen. They were checking the moon calendar to know when I was going to give birth. Yeah. And in the end, it all happened. So I was laughing a lot, but it all happened.
Yeah, so, that's funny. It was exactly the same for me. Also with the moon calendar, they also told me, and I was also kind of like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's sure.
And then, like, just afterwards, I realized how much knowledge this woman has, and this woman Susan has, how experienced they are. And that's when I even got more trust into the holistic approach of giving birth, because it's not just like a witch or hocus pocus or something,
Yeah.
It's
I
like
agree.
a real old experience.
No, I can only agree. So she was like I can only agree. I followed what she was saying, and everything happened the way she said.
Yeah. Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
And then when you gave birth, how was this process for you? Was it, as she said, easy? Easy, smooth? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very, very smooth. It was very smooth. As she said, it was going to be quick.
How long?
It has been very quick. It was 4 or 5 hours.
Wow. It's even shorter than mine.
Yeah, it was quite...
Wow.
The birth went very well. So what happened? I mean, my water broke in the evening at like 10. I didn't have any contraction. I sent a message to say, "Hey, I think my water broke. Not sure yet." I mean, let's say there's a lot of liquid, and then I went to sleep. And at 12 or 1, I started having contraction. So we waited a bit because they told us to wait, that it was not going to happen immediately anyway. And but it was very, very frequent. So we went down, we took a taxi. Of course, it was not one of the registered taxi because I didn't yet finish that. I did. Yeah. So we were just lucky that there was a taxi downstairs and that took us. I had like huge contraction in the taxi because it's quite far. So we had like 40 minutes drive. And we arrived, I was like almost giving birth. So I arrived. So-san, before leaving, we called So-san to say, "Okay, we're leaving. We're coming to the birth house." And they said, okay, I will come tomorrow morning. But when I arrived, the midwife who was there checking was like, "But no, baby's coming. Hey, So-san, I mean, you need to come now." And it went very quickly. I focused on an advice that Stephanie, our doula, told me, to keep the face very relaxed. And then because the face was relaxed, then the whole, the whole pelvic floor would be relaxed as well. And I was really only focusing on that because the pain was enormous to any mom who gave birth. I mean, it's big pain. And doing that, I believe, helped me to deliver very quickly. And I could do whatever I wanted. I had a bit the feeling of being in trance because I was not listening to anyone. I was just doing whatever was crossing my mind to ease the pain. So I was taking all kind of positions that were easing the pain for me, which were like weird position. I mean, I was like throwing my head in the back, or then, putting myself, like rolling myself from in the interior, or I was going on the side. I was walking. I was really, really active in what I was doing, but not consciously. I was I couldn't have said what was around me when I was giving birth. And in the end, so I was very relaxed, always keeping focus on my face to be relaxed. As soon as the pain was that I could deal with the pain. And Alice is born while I was standing, or half standing, half in a squat position, and she's born, and I caught her in my arms because it was difficult for the midwife to catch her from how I was positioned. So my husband was in front because I wanted him to be in front of me to hold on him. And she's born, and so sad, you need to catch her. And so I was like, what? Yeah, the next contraction, she's going to get out. I was like, what? Because I was like already like, oh my God, this is so painful. 8 hours of this is not possible. And her head was already out. So basically, I just pushed naturally, and she was out, and I had this heavy baby in my arms, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
She was. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I love what you say about being in trance, because I actually just prepared like a podcast episode about how women can deal with the restriction and without being with their partner. And so I try to explain, if you talk to a lot of women who gave birth, they don't even realize what's happening in their external world, and they are just so focused on themselves. So I think it's good to, or I also like the comparison with mammals, with cats, elephants. They all concentrate on themselves, and they don't need actually somebody else. I mean, of course, it's like tragic what's happening now, that there are restrictions at the hospitals that your husband can, or your birth partner can be there. But just to encourage that and of course at the end we are doing it on our own, but looking back at our own delivery, I also noticed that I would not even notice if my husband would go out of the room. It's just like me, my body, and the baby. That's it, And I don't know what actually happened around me. So it's just to encourage other women. It's possible.
There is a really, really cool book about women in South America who are giving birth by themselves in the forest. The Continuum, I think it's called the Continuum, the book. I will check for the title, but it's about women who are giving birth and educating their child super freely, and that they are much more autonomous and
and I think also without this epidural and with the freedom to move where you want, your body and is more relaxed. And actually what I read on because I did it a little bit the other way around than you, because you were relaxed. You said I will do the right thing when the time comes. And for me, it was the other way around. I prepared so much, so, but it's funny how we kind of experienced the same birth at the end. And yeah, when I read that the epidural also slows down the process, and it it prevents your natural instincts, and so
it's one of the reasons that I didn't want the epidural, of saying, oh, I need to be able to control myself, and I don't want the pain to last longer than it's already.
Right. And I didn't know before having a baby or being pregnant, I didn't know about all these natural possibilities, let's say, and that I ended up at the Matsugoaka. It was a little bit by coincidence, right? Because of COVID also. Yeah. And at the end, I was so happy about my choice, but
yeah. No, it's really the same for me. I mean, I would have never known about this natural way of birth giving if I was not in Japan now, and if it was not COVID also. Because if it was only the cost point of view, I think we would have stayed in the hospital because, I mean, we would have taken it, and it's like, but it's our baby, we want the best. And in Belgium, that's how it is. So it has to be that way. But without and in the end, it's like so much better, because so you're saying about the position that you read that it's, I mean, you were talking about the position, but really, I mean, being on the back as it is in any film, in any series, I mean, I would have never think of saying, oh, I'm giving birth by standing, or by hanging. It's like, I don't know. Like, I never. And another thing that I also liked very much about Matsugaoka, but there it's depending on the woman or to another, but they after delivering your baby, you're staying in the same room where you delivered for a few hours. And that's also something that I found like quite important, because they don't move you. They just let you be. They relax. They massage your belly to make sure that everything is going out. They're super calm. They put blanket on you. And after you go in this tiny room, I think it's like 2 meters out of 3, like tiny room where there is just one single bed, and you don't have these mom bed and baby bed like it is in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed co-sleeping with my baby. That is something that is forbidden in the hospital because it's dangerous, and that you might roll on your baby. And that's also like kind of a nonsense from my experience of saying, but I would have never rolled on my baby, like not a single second. I was super awake and super aware of where she was in my sleep, and she was so relaxed next to me. I really, it was like, oh, my baby is out of my belly, but still so close to me. Right. That's also something I enjoyed so much.
Yeah, and that's what I heard from quite a few women. Also women who sleep, let's say, a little bit wild, and they are all over in the bed usually, that once the baby is there and next to you, you instinctively know, kind of act like cautious, right? You don't roll on your baby. And for me, it was surprising too, because I usually have a deep sleep, and I move a lot in the bed, and it changed so much just by having the baby next to me. That's it's amazing, what nature does.
No, it really is. And no, if I can highlight something else that I liked so much about Matsugaoka and giving birth in Japan, it's the food that they provided. After that, I had like this amazing little set of food that I was receiving 3 times a day.
Yeah.
and that I didn't have to cook anything, and that they were like really asking for you to stay at least 1 week longer if you want, that you have like this possibility of resting as a mom. Yeah, maybe Alice, because it's a bit tiring to take care of you.
Yeah, I also I don't know if you saw it on YouTube. I did some videos about whoever is interested about the tatami room you described, or also the food you just described. So you can have an image. And maybe one last question I wanted to ask Carolin. So first, you said you were in a hospital. That was just a place to go, and also for your husband, there was not just. It seemed like not an option to go to a birth center because of the medical side of you. How did you deal with this, or was that any concern then?
It was like a concern a bit on my husband's side of saying, "Oh, we don't go to the hospital," and I didn't do anything much on that side to convince him to change from the hospital to the birth house. I mean, for me, it was like not an option anymore to go to the hospital. And what helped him was that the birth house was really secured, in the sense they were saying, no, if there is anything, you have to know that we are in contact with the hospital. And I think that made him relax about going to the birth house. But he hates blood. He hates, when he was like seeing this PowerPoint presentation with birth giving, he was like, oh my God, this is next level. But after having the experience, he was super enthusiastic. We have friends who gave birth in the hospital at approximately the same time, and he really doesn't like the experience they had. And he's like so amazed, and if we would have to do it again, he would do it again like immediately. So
yeah, and I think it's also, if something arises like a complication, like there's also like, it doesn't happen from minute to minute, it's like the circumstances, and midwives are so experienced, they kind of see if there's something coming, and they don't take the risk.
In my case, for example, when I arrived, my water were dirty from what the midwife said, and so they told, I know that after, because as I said, I didn't realize what was really happening around me. But they told my husband, okay, the water are not clear. And so if the baby is not coming quickly, we will have to go to the hospital, because it means that now the baby is suffering.
Yeah. So they know, it's like...
Yeah. And so for him, for example, it was like stressful at that time. But everything happened so fast after Alice is born, 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning. It's not... It didn't matter anymore.
And maybe could you also, Carolin, for women who still, because I know it's a quite personal choice, and you always hear stories, so I completely also understand if women want to stay at a hospital where they are at and they already know everything, and security and all that. And if they stay there with, so the husband can come for labor, what would you recommend them to? Is there anything you can say if they have to manage labor alone?
At the hospital? It's gonna be, it's really going to be okay. It's like, it's not so much like the place where you deliver, but more about the mindset you have. So it's really self-control, and it's going to be on you, and you can only be proud of yourself, and your husband is going to be there at one point. So if he's not there at the moment, it could have happened in any other case where he was on a business trip, or he was at work, or he was in the traffic jam. I don't know. It can always happen. And but not to be afraid that they're just they just need to focus on themselves and on these little riddles that they have next to the eyes, that when they deliver, I mean, this has been such a good advice to really, really make sure that they don't have any riddles, how do we say wrinkles? Wrinkles next to the eyes when they deliver. Like, just to focus on that. They only to focus on that.
That's a great advice.
Only think about that. So any mom who is going to deliver in the hospital or at home or in a birth house, anywhere, make sure that you're not keeping any wrinkle next to your eyes when you're delivering. And it's going to make your pelvic floor more relaxed, and it's going to be easier to give birth and for your baby to get out. And do whatever you feel necessary to relieve your pain by being relaxed.
That's the key.
But anywhere it's going to be okay. In the hospital or anywhere.
Yeah, I think mindset is great key. Mindset, and well, I still think preparation, right?
But even about the preparation, it's preparation is like nice to have preparation, but in the end you don't know what's going to happen on the day D. And to be honest, I didn't remember like how many times I had to breathe after how many times, and it was like, okay, just I was only focusing on my face. It's like stupid to say, but I was really only focusing on that, on the skin of my face, to make myself relax. And I was having my eyes closed and like trying to relax my body. And I know that I was having like some convulsion, like to release the stress sometimes. But my whole focus was on me.
Yeah, it's so good to hear.
And I was holding to my husband because I had the chance for him to be there. But I mean, it could have been a chair, at least. He wouldn't have been in pain when I was like squeezing his shoulders, for example.
Yeah. Carolina, well, thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah, and thank you so much for like making all these podcasts. I think I hope that many moms can enjoy them and learn many things.
Yeah, learn many things. Yeah, we are quite in a special situation here as foreigners in Japan. First time moms most of the time. Then COVID. I mean, what is there else? What will happen to us?
I don't know. That you're not alone. I mean, you're never alone. I have like, there are like moms everywhere. I always found that my neighborhood, there were no expat. And in the end, I because of Stephanie, my doula, I found out that there is another mom who delivered like few months before me. And this amazing mom like brought me soup when I was like in my first month with my baby, like this total stranger, and she was bringing me food. I was like, wow, but this is like so nice.
Yeah, they're always nice people, and the networking is so great, huh?
Yeah. They're really, I mean, the fact that we are in Japan I have the feeling that the moms are like much more connected to each other, like saying, we know that you're alone. And it's true, you're alone. I mean, for many things, you cannot, I'm always with my kids because I don't have anyone close to take care of her for me to take a shower or to, except my husband, of course, but I mean, it's like one or the other. So it's not always that easy to handle, but it's also an amazing moment because when I think about it, I'm happy that we had COVID and that I was only me and myself with my baby. That sometimes you can be like overwhelmed with so many people around you visiting you. It's tiring. That here I was just like cuddling my baby, and that we have anyway 8 hours difference with Europe. So it was, I don't know. I was not like always with people talking to me.
Yeah, you have to see the good side, huh?
Yeah, but there are
And
some good sides.
There are, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And
There are
like
some
you
good
say, I also think there's a stronger support among moms. I also had quite a few moms who cheered me up, and I was very down in the first month after our daughter was born, and you know, even they didn't know me, they were there and encouraged me to come to meetings or like just seeing each other. That was it's great. And of course it would be a whole different story and when we are in our home country, right?
No, it is
yeah, it's very special experience we all share here.
It's I can only repeat that I loved so much my experience in Japan, having all these natural births, being alone with my kid, having to rethink in last minute. So it was not even like thinking. It was like just, okay, I have something, one choice if I want my wish to be respected, and I'm just going for it. And I mean, just go for it. Just go for it.
Yeah. That's
just
awesome.
Go for it. It's just go for it. You can do it. If you're like being negative, it's only getting everything harder. Everything is going to have an end, and so just you need to pass through. If it's a bad moment, then go through it like faster, and it's only good things that are going to happen after.
Right.
So it's really a mindset. And it's easy to say, but I had also like bad moments and being alone, whatever connection I could have made in Japan. You're still in your home with your baby sleeping the whole day, and you cannot go out because you have no one to watch over her. And what are you going to say to your stranger that, how about like you come to my home? But honestly, if you don't ask, nothing is going to happen. So it's also something like, don't be afraid to ask. And if it's a no, it's a no. And
take action, right?
Yeah. Only people who try can fail.
Yes.
Only people who fail tried, should I say. You need to make a cut in this video because sometimes I'm saying fail too quickly. That's not what I mean.
Carolin, thanks so much. That was awesome.
I really think we need to make some cut in the video. So sometimes I'm repeating 20 times the same thing, but it's...
Okay, anyway. Thank you, Carolin.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's really nice.